Hey everyone, we'll give it a couple more minutes, wait for a few more people to join, and then I'll get started with everything. Uh, Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, where we'll be talking about sharing reports. As I'm sure you all know by now, my name's Milo, and I'm part of the support team. And just to give you a bit of insight, when you're building a report in Workbooks, by default, it's visible to you and any member of your system admin user group. That might be fine, but it's more likely that you'd need to make the information visible to colleagues and possibly to people outside the business. So today, I'm going to show you how to achieve this. Now, as you know, we are doing a series of webinars every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time. On the screen, you can see where we started with our journey and what we're planning for our next few webinars. We also do have a 2-day training course on reporting where we do go into more depth. For information about these courses, you can contact your account manager or email training@workbooks.com. So with that said, let me actually go into what we'll be covering today. I'm going to show you guys how to share a report using the sharing padlock within the report. Then we'll look into how you can set up an email containing reports and or charts, which can be sent on a regular schedule to other Workbooks users or people outside of your business. You're probably aware of the most common way to share report information, which is to add reports and charts to a dashboard. And then in turn, those dashboards can be added to users' springboards. And I'll show you how to do this. You may not, however, know that it's possible to add reports to landing pages if that makes accessing and using them easier. Finally, it's possible to actually show information generated by reports within fields in workbooks called report cells, as well as embedding grid reports or adding reports to specific tabs on records. For example, if your account management team hold account reviews with customers, you might want to see a tab showing the outcome of those reviews. As always, if you have any questions, please add them to the questions area and I'll work through them towards the end of the session, and this session will be recorded. So, using the padlock is the simplest way to share a report, and you may well have used this approach with other record types. As I mentioned earlier, when you create a report, By default, it's visible to the owner, i.e. you and anyone in the system administration user group. It's quick and easy to use the padlock to share reports with other users, either in read-only mode or to give them edit rights. Another really handy way to share information is to send reports and charts via email. Using this method, you can set up a schedule so that the report is sent automatically. For instance, you might want to email your account managers each month with a list of invoices that they need to chase up. Scheduled emails allows you to send the reports to other Workbooks users and, as I said earlier, to people outside your business. For example, you might work with sales partners and want them to receive information about their opportunities on a regular basis. You can control when and how frequent these emails are sent, scaling from once an hour to once a month. And the reports can either be in the body of an email or attached as a CSV or XLS file. You've probably seen reports and charts on a dashboard within Workbooks, as well as using dashboards in other products. Much like the dashboard in a car, they consist of a number of reports and/or charts which give you information on how you're doing in a visual format. Dashboards can also include one or more filters that you can apply to the different reports and charts you see, which makes them really flexible. And you can drill into the reports to access the underlying data. As I said, dashboards can also be added to a user's springboard, and I'll show you this when I jump into Workbooks later. Some customers like to make use of the functionality that allows you to add reports to landing pages. This screenshot shows an organization landing page, and a report called Billings has been added to the top of the available views on the left-hand side. You can add multiple reports if you'd like, but unfortunately, charts can't be added. System administrators can add reports onto different record types. For example, if you track the account health of your customer, you might want to display a report cell that shows this, which has made use of conditional formatting to make the information stand out for you. Or at the bottom of the screen here, you can see that a grid report that shows recent invoices and credit notes for this organization. You can access this information on the Transactions tab, but using a report allows you to put the really important information in an easy to access place. Plus, as shown here, you can use formatting to indicate certain situations. In this case, overdue invoices are shown in red. Configuring these is something that a system administrator would do, so I won't be covering how to do this, but it is worth knowing that it's possible. Let me switch over to Workbooks, and then I can show you how to do some of these. So I'm on my report, the reports landing page, looking at my reports, where you can see the reports I've created and also the reports that are being watched. You can see in this third column here that the top report has been shared with users in the finance manager group and also the sales manager group. The rest are only shared with users in the system admin group, which is an out-of-the-box functionality. To access the padlock on a report, you would need to actually go in and actually go there and be in edit mode so that you can adjust this. So let's have a look at this project delivery report. So I would first need to go into edit this report in order to access the padlock. And now that I'm here, you can see that I have the padlock accessible. Clicking on it shows that the owner, in this case Anthony Khan, has full permissions of the report, as does anyone in the system administration group. Clicking on Add Rule allows me to share users, to share the report with users in the project managers group. It is also good to know that here, if you want to share it with a particular user, you can do that as well. If you want everyone to be able to see the report, then what you would do is you would select the everyone group, which I'll do in this one. It's good to be cautious who you give modify permissions to, as they might make changes to the report without you realizing it, and it could cause some confusion. So I'm going to make this save. And when I save and then run this report, when I go back into my reports learning view, you can see that the Dash project delivery report is now shared with the everyone group. So let's move on to scheduled emails. Scheduled emails is a great way to send information and reports to people outside your business and also people within your business. To see scheduled emails, you can see that we have these two views here for both my scheduled emails and all scheduled emails. I'm going to go into the all scheduled emails where you can see that we've got two here and they're both grayed out. This indicates that they're currently disabled. If you do have a disabled scheduled email, you can always re-enable it just by clicking into it. And when that loads up, you see that we've got this enable checkbox. And I can save and close this and it would be enabled. When you are re-enabling, it's always good to make sure that you've got all the details correct, such as the reports you're adding and also when it's doing. But if I save and close this now, you can see that it's no longer grayed out, indicating that it's active. Now, to create a new scheduled email, you can see that I've got the option here of new scheduled email. If I click on here, we have the bare bones of it. First thing that I'd always recommend doing is changing the subject line of your report. If you don't change it, it automatically will show as Workbooks report, and then you'd get confused as to what information am I being shown here. Next thing that I'll point out is this send if empty tick box. So if I go back to my previous example where you may want to email your account managers each month with a list of invoices that they need to chase. If there are no invoices in the report that need to be chased, it wouldn't be worth sending an email. So if you untick this checkbox, it means that if the report is empty, no email would be sent. Now, here you can see that we can choose the option for how often we want it to run, where we have the option of hourly, daily, and monthly. And we've also got which days of the week that you want your report to be sent out. This would be definitely useful that if you don't want a report to be sent over the weekend, then you just select the days of the week that you do want it sent. It also means that if you want information only to be sent once a week, you can select daily and then choose which day you want it sent out, and it'll only send that day. When adding the email addresses of who you want your report sent to, you can start typing in their addresses. So I'm going to just start typing one here. And you can see that it automatically comes up with people that can be added. If, however, you want to add someone who's not within Workbooks, so in this situation, I'm going to just put in my own email because I know that it's not here, that I can certainly add it. And it's showing grayed out to show that I don't have a record, but I do have the option to create a new person, to create a new sales lead. It's also useful to do this just so you can track which emails are sent to them within Workbooks. Below here, I have my message, so I can type in what I want in the body of the email. So I'm going to just quickly put, hi, this is the report for you. So just to make that simple. Now, when you want to add charts in the reports, you'd need to go to the reports tab. And you've got the option to both add a report and to add a chart. When adding a chart, it's important to know the name of the report it is being linked to, so that you can actually find it here. So I'm going to add a chart from the reports of Dash Opportunity Pipelines report. And then for the charts, you can see that I've got various options here. Now, if you're unsure which chart it is that you want to do, when you select your chart, you do have the option to view chart. And if I click on that, the chart appears. So that way you can make sure that you're adding the correct information. And what you can do is if I save and close this, I can add a second chart. So you can add multiple charts within your report. When you're selecting how you want them to be seen, in the format, you do have the option to either send it as a PNG file, or you can have it as an SVG file. For adding reports, you'd need to take a similar approach. So you would need to know the name of the report that you're wanting to do. I'm going to use the same report for this situation. So let me just find that. And then you'd also need to know the view that you actually want to be sent. And again, if I select the view that I want and go view reports, this will open up and show me what I would be attaching. When you're attaching a file, attaching a report, you've got three different choices for the format. You've got a CSV file, an Excel spreadsheet, and an inline, which means it's going to show in the body of the email. I would always recommend to actually attach your report as a CSV or an Excel file. This is because if you add the report in line, you may not get all of the information. Within your preferences, so I will show you now, for the desktop behavior, for the grids, you can see how many records are shown per page. Now, the maximum number that you can have on this is 100. But if you have it as 100 and you're attaching a report, or you're putting a report in line, when you send that report, it will only show the first 100 rows within the report, which that can be useful. But if you've got a report that's over 100 rows, you're not going to see everything. So with my chart and my report added, I can go ahead and send this. But a good rule of thumb is to always try and send yourself a test first. So what you would do for that one is you would remove whoever you're sending it to, and you would put in your own email address, and then you've got the option of send now. And then you'll receive that, and you can make sure that it shows everything that you want. With that covered, let's have a look at dashboards. So to access your dashboards, you can go to the menu and click dashboards, and this will show, you'll get the options of my dashboards and all view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of these. I'm going to go into the publication targets dashboard. where, as you can see, we have different, we've got a report showing and we've got a couple of charts showing. And something else that we've got are a couple of filters. So these filters will actually work when we're looking here. So if I put in for the brand GQ and apply the filter, you'll see that the information has changed and it's impacted all of these. So that is something else that can be done. Dashboards can always also be pinned and added to your desktop like other records within Workbooks. So you would use this to pin the dashboard, and in here we've got the option to also add a dashboard to your springboard. Now, if you want to add additional reports and charts and you have the correct permissions, you'll need to open this sidebar and go to the edit. Here, you've got the option to do the layout, where you have the current layout that you can see, and you've got the option to add charts and also to add reports. And it's also good to know that you can also move these around in a drag and drop way so that you can adjust it so that it shows the way that you want it to. If I go to my main tab, you can actually see here that if you want to add a springboard to a certain user group, you can select them here. And so you can select your user group. So if I go manager and save, this dashboard will now appear on their springboard. Earlier, I talked about adding a report to a landing page. And to show you how to do this, I'm going to go into our organization's landing page. And you can see here that I've got this little cog under my views. If I click on the cog, this shows me the current views that I've got. But if I want to add a reporting view, I've got the option here of add report view. Now, I'm going to show the same reporting view that I'd shown in my earlier screenshot. So what I'm first going to do is add my reports of billings by customer. And I'm also going to add the report view of billings by customers, but I do have other options there. I'm then going to give this a name. So I'm going to just simply call it billings. And I can also adjust where it's shown on those different views. So I'm going to make this the first one. So when I save and close this, and then close this, you can see that now billings has appeared as the first view. So there we go. The final thing that I want to show you is how you can, or show you records that have report cells and also grid views within them. So if I open up my Atlantic Services organization, you can see here that we have that account health, as I've said. This account health is tied to a report that I previously discussed in a webinar where it uses conditional formatting, and this is actually tied to a specific field, which is this customer health status. So if I change the customer health status so that it is now amber, and I just save my record, you can see that that has now changed. You can also see that here we've got the grid view of the report of this organization's recent invoices and credit notes, where I've got some conditional formatting in here. And the last thing to show is you can actually have a tab where I've got this account management tab where this actually has charts shown to it. And that's it. So just to recap, give me 2 moments. So just to recap, there are 4 ways to share a report: using the padlock, sending scheduled emails, dashboards, springboards, and landing pages, and report cells and fields. The padlock is a great way for others to see your report. Scheduled emails allows you to send reports to both to users outside of Workbooks, and adding dashboards and landing pages is the most common way to share a report. So let's see if we've got any questions. So uh, I've got one question from Kimberly. Thank you for the question, where she's asked, when pinning a dashboard to a homepage/desktop, can that be something that system admin can commission for all users within a specific group? I don't believe it can be, Kimberly. It is something that would need to be done by the actual user. And I can see that you've also asked, how do you know if a field is tied to a report and or is a report cell? Very good question. There isn't a clear way to show it, but certainly with the example that I showed of that customer account health, which let me just go back to that so that I can show you guys. You can have it so that it has the conditional formatting. That's one way that it can stand out for you. But as I said, most of the time, this is something that would be set up by the system admin. They would be able to know it. For reports where you've got the grid, you'll have a refresh so that you can refresh the information that changes there. So hopefully that's answered your question. So next, Paul, is there a way to make edits to a shared report which share the changes? You're editing one on your end and it doesn't share the changes. Usually, Paul, if you make the changes and save the report after you've made the changes, this will then be shown whenever someone else actually views the report. It depends whether you're making a copy of the report and making the changes, or if you're actually making changes to the same report that they're viewing. Okay. Kimberly, you've got a follow-up question. Um, yeah. So apologies. So yeah, as I said, the desktop pins are driven by the users, and a way to commission access of a report for all users or users within a specific group would be either by permissions, and it would show in their reports or dashboards or in their springboard. Yes, you are correct on that one. Now I've got one question here of, do I have to share a report with a user before adding it to a dashboard? No, you don't need to share the report with the user in order to add it to a dashboard. When you add it, it does automatically share it with them, but the users would not be able to actually drill into the details. And let me just check. And it looks like that's it. So with that said, everyone, I want to thank you for everything, for joining me on today so that I can go through everything with you. Just so you know, our next webinar, which will be on the 7th of May, will be starting to look into formulas and how to build them, where we'll be focusing on the if function, so that you can actually get values out of your reports based on how you build it. In the meantime, if you do need help, you can always check our knowledge base, where you can get information there. You can, if you're an authorized support contact, please reach out to us on support, either via email, by phone, or using the case portal, or you can contact your account manager. We do have some videos online for some free training for end user training, reporting, and system admin. And you can find these on our website by going to www.workbooks.com/resources. And then if you go to webinar recordings on there, you can also find all of these webinars that we've been doing lately. Well, I want to thank you for your time, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hope you have a good day.